All right, so I got some questions in the comments section here I wanted to get to. Looking at the, so inside MT4, I had this guy who's having a hard time. His name's Tony P, and he's trying to load the scripts in the MT4 platform. Well, for that, you got to go to the, on the top here, you go to File, and you open Data Folder, and you got to take the scripts and load them through the front door here, unless you know how to get in the back door, because Windows 10, Windows 8, you're in the roaming area, some master directory, the root of all roots apparently, and you're just an address in there. So unless you're really good at memorizing like a Bitcoin number, I'd say open up the folder here and go for the data, open data folder, put them in there, and then you have to go to Tools. Okay, you have to go to Tools, and you have to say Options. Market has to be open for some of these scripts to run. You have to choose, well, I choose Show Trade Levels. I also choose this, which is not chosen originally. I also choose Show the Ask on the chart. Bid and ask, these are only bid charts you're looking at, so we have to turn on the ask if we want to buy something to see what it's going to cost us. So the Expert Advisors tab. I click this one, and I click this one, and this one. I guess this is going to kill your robot if you change time frames. I guess you could have this if you wanted to stop a bad script maybe, or this way all you got to do is change time frames. It's going to kill your EA. But you got to have that on. That is not on, and you've got to have trade. One-click trading allowed. Unless you're going to get a thing that comes up and says that you're kind of, you're not, that it says, oh, do you want to do this? You may get the request at some point to, because people were complaining they were losing money in the market, and the broker's like, okay, dude, like, you're in one-click mode, like, you got your finger on an full auto weapon here. You could just keep pressing the button and blow up the account. And there's no stop coming in here. I don't think I think on my MT4 mobile platform that I used to run on an HTC phone was actually, it would hold on to your last stop level. So you could trade at the market with stops, but your account's a stop. If you don't have any stops, whatever's in your account, yeah, you can just blow up the account. And then on the other currency pair, so the gold looks like gold could, I was looking at gold on the daily and it looked to me like it's just running out of gas here, and we're just going to have to come all the way back to the starting gate. 1350. There's a bunch of scalping windows in here. Somebody asked me about the pound versus Swiss franc 2015. What do you do about this crash in these markets? You know, if you're going to buy on limits like this, okay, now there's got to be, and maybe there's not, a bounce, a baby bounce, how about a dead kitten bounce? Like just a baby bounce in there you could scalp. And I've said before, if you're going to really, if you got enough money in the market, you can check the market every 2 hours. You're going to save yourself a lot of money because you can get in and out, in and out, in and out. It's up and down every 2 hours. It may look like a trend on the daily chart, but trust me, on the 2-hour chart, it's fucking insane. On the 5-minute chart, it's a mess if you're trading really big and if you have very tight spreads. Also, this guy Tony P is he claims illiteracy for the computer, and I would say that maybe he doesn't understand that. He said his comment here is he deleted it, so there's no way to answer because I can't click but I'm looking at the question. It says he says, I guess he's adding a sentence here, and I find scalping the 5-minute is sweet. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to scalp the 5-minute chart. Until I put on a large order, say 0.09, $9,000 position. As soon as I place it at market order, it will go against me immediately. And I think I know what he's talking about because the next sentence says, if I place a 1K or a 4K, it will, I think he's saying continue. But of course, I can't read the whole thing because he deleted it. So you're stuck with the highlight text. And I think what he's going to say next is, it's crazy. When I pull the trigger on a 9K, I'm down immediately. But by a 1K, yeah, because you just bought the spread and the commissions if they have commissions. And if they don't, you have to make up. There's shipping and handling. You have to make the shipping and handling up. Even if you're selling these things for $100. Okay, so you've got something that costs $100 and you want to make 110, but it's costing you $10 shipping. Think about it like that. If you're scalping with a 3 pip spread, and this presupposes you're fucking nailing it so tight that you can run a 3 pip stop on that, it's going to cost you 6 pips. Well, I don't get it. I put a 3 pip stop on my order. Yeah, but you're already down 3 pips. I mean, another 3 pips, they're going to take you out and you'll be holding a 6 pip loss. That's why people are like, what the fuck? I mean, didn't make any money on that. I'm selling these things for $20. The shipping's 10. I sold them for 30. I didn't make any money. But I sold them for 30. What the fuck? Well, the spread's 10 pips. This is why. Because it's fun to trade a 5-minute chart. But you got to hit it and quit it. As soon as you get above and you're in money, that means you've already made 3 pips. And at that point, it's like, do I take 2 pips and get out of here? Which means you took a 5 pip ride on bid. You already overpaid for it, and you bought it at the market, for God's sakes. You won't even think about the guy that's got the buy stop. The spread's 6. He's got a buy stop 10 pips above him because you want us to really, really make sure it's going to go up. Okay, that could be a winning trade. There's no doubt that one single trade could be a winning trade, but like the guy that was tailgating me on the way home. So apparently the video I did no good last night. Here I'm taking an exit at 65 miles an hour. I'm coming up on an exit that's rated at 30. Yellow 30 sign. The guy's on my ass. I'm like, dude, you know what? You got about fucking 100 feet left here. No, gonna pull around in front of me and then go slow in front of me. Well, dude, I got your driver's license. Okay, I mean, I got your name like off your plate for $3, so I'll be sending you a letter. And then you could drive 20 fucking miles an hour in front of me on the ramp. So, Mr. Big Shot and his $67,000 Denali. What a dumb shit. Dude, you could have had a Ferrari. You could have taken 40 grand and go trade it in the market or find somebody that invested in for you. Like you're driving around in a small home. You're driving around in a all shiny. And, I'm just going only 65 miles an hour on a 30 mile an hour ramp. Sorry. I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on, people. Leave me alone. So that you didn't watch last night. So this guy also asked me another question, but the scroll to it is so brutal. Oh, it is so brutal. I think he still can't load. I'm never going to get to it. The scroll bar that comes up is so thin now. I mean, that's why Discord's so fucked up. You go there, and the scroll bar is, you need like a 50-inch screen. I just don't even know how people are doing it. In the Android, what a piece of shit that is. Everything's layered on top of something. Dude, just get a big monitor. Why are people carrying around these pussy phones? They should be carrying around a fucking 16-inch tablet. Dude, just go there. Just stop with this fucking, you swipe this way and that. You know what? Swipe this shit right here. Fuck you. The swipe. Swipe. What are you living in you living in your car too? The hell are you everything? Yeah, it's right here. The ashtrays. This music. So you want a USB drive? See, ashtray. I don't smoke. What the fuck's going on with these people? All right, so the question is, what do you do about this April 15th, or about this 15th of January 2015 trade in a pound versus Swiss franc? Well, I would say in the first place, what in the fuck are you doing in the Swiss franc pound? I mean, you're kidding, right? Okay. The guy just a minute ago, this fucker's psychic. Tony P just came in with sorry for all the comments. Had a few too many yesterday, so he deleted them. People wonder why I quit broadcasting. People out of their fucking mind. I got a second person like, who the fuck are you? Comment. Somebody thought maybe it was. Oh my god, another fucking forex Q&A this morning. So the guy's like, you know what? Forex is alright, but get yourself some working girls. Set up like one of those A&W things where they come out all busty and they give you like drinks. Get some real estate, get some bitcoins, get some gold. Maybe not the bond market unless you just like that quaintness of voting for it. Oh, he's in this trade. So, last time I was at the bank, the spread was 500 pips. Talk about. And supposedly no nonsense is buying real Denali's or like the car that hit me, tried to hit me. He's buying real Denari. I said Denari's the place to load up. Dude, you got to buy low. Like, you just got to get in there before, because, Trump pulled the, he's going to let people do their own shit now. I like how people are torn. Do they pull out of that turkey or they let it? Dude, you know what? It's time to fucking cut the cord. Run along. This is when, you have to say, you can't live in my basement anymore. The world can't live in our basement anymore. Can't afford it. Trying to get to this comment. Because, the tablets, I'm like one hammer swing from taking out the tablet here, but, do the vertical trick. Okay, so yeah, somebody, Pound Swiss, back in January 15th, I'm not sure what. 2015. There you go. That's why I thought it was wrong. What's the chance of that? This must be a geometry thing. One. Okay, so also, and let's not forget that's the beginning of the year. So a lot of reasons why he's talking about, Jesus Christ, this market took off. Obviously, you'll short the market at 1553, which is, let me see, where is that? So I have to go hunt down this thing. Let me take a look if I can see if I can find it. It's on the other account, so I have to go hunt. Go on a little hunt here for it. I think this is at Pound Swiss. 4-hour daily, whatever have you. What about this sell-off? What are you going to do? Forget it, this is a very, everybody should understand this is a very volatile pair, right? I mean, what is the spread on this, by the way? I'm at a fixed pip broker, so, okay, 5 pips. See, that's fixed. See, this spread does not change. It's 6 all day long, so you can trade a robot. Even though this is not a great spread, it's 5 pips. It's not a great spread. It's like very kind of mechanically tradable from a robot standpoint. Now, let's take a look. Let's go back. Like I said, I don't think you have to go back. This is 25 pip grid. And he's talking about a drop of 2,700 pips. And let me see if I can get to the whole comment here. Oh, Jesus, everything is so complicated. Here, I'm going to read more. All right, so here's the whole story. So yeah, it's 15. Let me see if I can find the price. I'll go to the weeklies and see if I can get back that far. That's a long time ago, 2015. Jesus fucking Christ, were you live back then? To even trade it? Wow, that's some wackadoodle move there. Man, no wonder people are getting killed. Let me see if I can find the price. So I have to use my tools here. Plop the horizontal line in. Try to find that price. I think it's way down here. I guess he's claiming that the obvious. My other question would be, what do you do about? Oh, he's talking about this wick over here. Oh, Jesus. Now you could ask me what you do during the depegging of the Swiss. Look, how big is your account? I mean, do you mind getting stopped out? I mean, okay. I gotta zoom out to see what he's talking about here. I gotta take off this grid. You can't even fucking see. Okay. Just get to measure the pips here. Okay, so there's 2008. What do you do about that? 2015. Okay. Gotta actually mark that off, I think. Yeah. That's funny. I had that marked off. That was an obvious, insane wick. I think I was talking about it maybe in some video. So usually I mark that stuff off. Yeah, I'd be up in the trade right now. I would have bought everything from here down, actually. I'm just talking about last month. In other words, what I would have done is I would have bought here, 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 here. And I'm assuming you got to run at least a 300 pip stop on this trade. Okay. Yeah, you're trading with wide stops, 300 pip stops. You're buying from here down. You're up on all those trades. You bought. You bought because it was a hammer at the end of the month. But you're saying at 1553. I'm sorry. Way the fuck up here. Man. See, another thing, you're cherry picking some insane trade that you would never do because it's who has a 2700 pip target? You were 2700 pips and you hadn't been there. But in the meantime, you wait with buy limits all the way down. Yeah, see, I think the waiting is disturbing. The idea of waiting for an entry, that's why I said if you trade the breakout into the limit, you trade both. I don't know if I've been saying that lately, is that you have a breakout trade plan and you have a limit entry trade plan. A limit entries, they're not breakouts. They're not continuations. They're not going with the flow. You're against the flow, even if it's 5 pips. If I put a buy limit 5 pips deep now for the next 8 hours, I'm kind of saying that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get filled on that ticket. In fact, if I put a buy stop 8 pips above and 8 pips below right now in Asia, okay, it's 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, 4:23. If I put in, I mean, this should be obvious. If I buy at the market right now with a 300 pip stop in any currency pair, regardless of ATR, I'm risking $30. And I don't even have to take profit in there. So I could put a 300 pip stop, a 20 pip exit. I'm risking 300 to make 20. I'll bet you I can make 20 pips. Maybe not in the next 5 seconds. So if the markets are bobbing up and down and nobody can predict where it'll be in 5 minutes, show me the guy that can predict the market where it'll be in 3 minutes. How about 1 minute? If you can predict within a half a pip where the market will be in 1 minute, it sounds easy, but I bet you can't do it. I haven't tried, but I've seen enough market behavior to think I could be off a little bit. I could also get the direction wrong. This is going to be above or below game, unless you want to play, I think it's going to be a half a pip down. And there's just no way. Maybe in Asia you could say, yeah, I can see we're only making about 10 pips here in the next hour. We could drift in a 10 to 20 pip range in the next, yeah, right, because nobody's trading it. London opens. You want to tell me, are we going to be up or down 50 pips on the open? Nobody, even if you know that, even if you're right about that occasionally, Are you going to bet the whole ranch on every one of those tickets? And what is the risk on that? Is that the 300 pip stop? So he says first, so talking about this plunge, in the meantime, you're waiting with buy limits all the way down to at least 1524. Okay, 1524. I'm still not even able to find this on the chart. 15. I still got to find the entry. 1553. Oh, this is the obvious sell in this little stop hunt window? Right, and then you're going to start buying. You're saying that by the time we get to... Oh, I thought you were going to buy all the way down. Okay, so 1524. Where is that? 1524. Oh, jeez. That's not a very far move, is it? Okay, but you're saying... Oh, by that day. It's screaming short, but no one can predict the massive drop. And you're 2,700 pips on each ticket. I don't know, my math's not good enough. So when you say nobody can predict the move, no one can predict the massive drop. Well, I don't know what that number is he's talking about. This doesn't look like a very big move to me at all, but... So 2015 right here must be this move. I'm sorry, January 15th. It's this one right here. Okay. There's so many, you know, when you look, you have to really look. I mean, okay, this big move. So big move down here. Okay, no one can predict the move. Okay, well, what's fueling the move? I mean, I'm looking at the monthly chart. Like if I'm trying to make 2,700 pips, I'm looking at the monthly chart and I'm thinking, gee, I bet this looks like sideways price action. Sure, this is a lot of pips of side action. That is a lot of movement. Look at this drop. I mean, okay, so here's the worst scenario. Imagine this one. You put a buy limit here, a buy limit here, a buy limit here, a buy limit here, and every month it's down, you buy. You're accumulating a position to go along is what you're doing. Now you could say, well, you probably got stopped out of some of these. No shit. The other option was to, before you even got in the buy limits, is see the doji, the gravestone here? You're going to put on a hedge here. You're going to put on a hedge here. You're going to put one on here. All small bodies, you put a hedge on. Here's the ultimate. Ultimate hedge play is this gravestone, doji, dragonfly, then boosh. The ultimate limit play is I'm buying here. I'm buying below here very heavily. And if it closes down 1 month really hard, I buy here at the end of the month. And I don't know if this wick came before or after, but I know that if I buy a ton here, and this is my prediction, is that they will reverse it here or here. In this window, there are more buyers than there are in this window, is what I'm saying. And how do I know? Because this is such a steep move from this month. All of this price to the left matters. Right now, the story is you should have bought here, below here. You should have come in here, and I marked that off for a reason. Because I'm referencing, at the time I did that, it was a few months ago. And we got below there, and I think I did a video about it. How I would be buying if I was a swing trader, because if you're buying on limits that are 300 pips deep and 100 pips deep and 50 pips deep and 2,700 pips deep, you're saying I'm a swing trader. Or I'm a reversal trader, or I'm a retracement trader. To me, a retracement is swing trading. You're either on the train going somewhere, or you're waiting for the train to pick you up, or you don't know which way the train's going to go, but it's in the station and you have a doji. So you can buy, the only time I would use a stop entry is if I'm going to go to sleep. I could put on a doji trade and go to sleep. Because if I'm awake and if it's down and I'm a bull, I'm going to buy a little bit and I'm going to wait for my limits to fill. I'm not waiting a month. I wouldn't wait that long. And the speed of some of these moves. Now look at the speed of this smash down here. And interestingly, it closes at the vacuum's beginning. Like after this wick, at the end of the month, we are at the floor and the sellers are supposed to come in there. Don't forget, bottoms become tops. That rule still stands. And it doesn't continue tanking. Do the trend traders jump on? They're going to try, but they get ripped. Where do we come back to? This floor on the monthly. The same scenario, you could say the same thing about this. What if you start buying on limits, and here you buy more, and here you buy more, and here you bet the ranch? Because this tall wick, like, look at the holes in this thing. Look at these holes. Look at this box. And we dip in the window, and the people that are trading pure pivots, horizontal pivots, where they're like, we bought here. I'm sure somebody drew a channel here. So somebody out there, or maybe a group of people, maybe people would make the argument that's why the market's doing what it's doing, because people are trading that channel. So it's behaving within the channel. Yeah, maybe. But maybe just the momentum is enough to cause a drifting channel. In other words, on a closing basis, like, let me just switch to closing prices so you can, because the wicks are kind of ruining the frame by frame narrative. Here you've got this beautiful channel. You got on trendline traders, they draw two lines here and then they buy in this one. You got a top become a bottom in price. You could have jumped on the short. In other words, say this is the monthly chart. So say you've got buy limits here and you're like, you know what? If they don't retrace it to here, I'm going to do, you can't do it in the United States. It would be you'd have to have 3 accounts. Or 4 accounts, you could do it. But you said, I'm going to go into a hedge. I'm going to go into a non-directional hedge here. And you would have wrote it all the way down here. You cannot see the wick on this chart. So this does take the noise out in a sense. This takes out the volatility. All we have here is closing frame by frame, true trend lines. This is the trend of the market. This is the 1 period moving average. You can see the structure now. You can see I got to drew a trend line here and just said, oh yeah, when it comes back to here, I'm going to sell again. And you're right for a little bit maybe, or maybe you have to take into account that this is the floor, and on a closing basis, it comes back to here. Sellers come in, they take it down another notch. So that's almost a perfect scenario there that only happens on closing price, right? They break through it, come back, close. Now they're trapped below the floor. Then they get above it. And on a closing basis, they can take it back to this support that now becomes, there's a double bottom here, becomes resistance. I'm sure it wicked up in there. Right, so it wicked up in there. It's a different story when you go back and forth like this. Now you're trapped. Everybody's going to want to bail here, I'm sure. Right, they want to get out there, because that was a double bottom that should become a top, and the sellers are supposed to come in and keep taking it down. So you turn on the wicks. Yeah, somebody cashed out there. When you turn on the wicks, when I turn on the wicks or the bars, now I can see the vacuum. I can see the price over time vacuums, which is the so-called stop hunt, because as soon as they take out this floor here, January 2015 starts to cascade down. Let me see if I can turn off my chart shift and drop down to the weekly chart, and then we'll have to zoom out a little bit to get the entry point. Take it down to Gotta take the one click off. Okay, here we are on the 15th, January 15th. There's, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks on the weekly. So what was the setup for that collapse, and could you see it coming? And if you go to the weeklies and compress it out, who knew where it would stop? Well, I think we had a pretty good clue that once we got below this hole here on the weeklies, and this had more high res, and I've zoomed out, if you could afford, if you had enough money to buy this whole area, you did pretty good, you know. It's also, look at these moves, come on. Like I said, right now you'd be up on every trade had you had enough money in your account. What do you do on the way to that trade? Now, forget about dojis when you look at this chart. Just think about the range of the bar. So you have a system that looks for a small bar and a trend. This is the smallest bar so far. You're in the vacuum. You've fallen through the floor. Here's a real easy. You also have a bottom becomes a top here. That's a weekly chart. You actually come back to that double bottom on the weekly before you plunge. So you could put a trade on there in a limit order, or you put a sell stop here at the bottom of that small bar. You have a sell stop and a buy stop, and you walk away. And then this one you put a bigger order on because this is a smaller bar. At the end of the week, you have a smaller bar. So they open Sunday night, they come crashing through the floor. Once they get below here, Katie bar the door, and just before you drop below there, you've got these are all places to put on tight orders. Here's another tight order: buy stop, sell stop. Okay, that's the trade plan. Small bars, buy stop, sell stop. Does pretty good, right? Because it never gets you in on this. Even though this is a good trade, you're not going to put a buy stop and a sell stop here because you're going to get trapped. Potentially, you know, if they grab you like they did here, they grab you by the long and short hairs. So you could have waited the next week. When you have a small range, you put on a buy stop and a sell stop, and you are risking less to make just as much because it really didn't leave the station. I mean, once it actually, this closed a little higher on the lows. I'm trading bar by bar. I'm not looking to say, well, you know, we rally up here on a weekly chart because we come up here and I'll sell up here and I'm waiting for them to fill this mini vac. Actually, I would be. If I was on the weekly, I'm putting my sell limits here and here and here if I'm a bear. Because as soon as they punch up in here and they fill that void, and my sell limits here do not get filled, also you have tickets that don't get filled. Here's a nice narrow range breakout. Small range weekly. They've even trapped at the top here. We've revisited this price. You know, look at this. Look at this perfect double top. Bottom becomes a top right here before it crashes. See, it's pretty subtle, but we bounce off this on close on the weekly. We close below it, then we just kind of like don't even get a rally. This is where the breakout traders just kick ass. They just blow away any limit trader because the limits aren't getting filled yet. Yeah, what do you do in the meantime? You got to make some money, you know, on these trades. So you got to make some simple money where you break. When you play pool, you end up with these balls right near the pockets. You're typically going to get rid of those so you can kind of clear up the field. They're just in the way. So when you go switching between the bar chart and the line chart, it's giving you a completely different trade plan. You can't even see the breakout trade plan unless you go to the bars. You know, you can't see this entry, how beautiful. Because it looks like, oh, it's just down a little bit. So there's a trade plan for the bar chart. There's a trade plan for the line chart, and there's a trade plan for the candlestick chart. Because I think they're there is a more dynamics between open and close than there are between big and small bars. And I think you trade very aggressive at the end of a candle because you're getting dojis here. If you're a bull, you're loading up long. Sure, you could put a buy stop above here, but you're getting a shitty fill. Better to get in at the market here. And that's not a bad little trade, I'm sure, especially if you're going to stop and reverse and sell that new high. Just like you sold this new high and pull back. You know, the candlesticks really ruin the breakout strategy. The candlesticks, unless you're going to go and pay attention to the size of the body, that's the whole point of it. How big is the body? If it's a shaved candle, this is a shaved candle. You can't tell here, but I can see the hash mark open and then we close screaming up. And then we supposedly engulf. And people would sell here as confirmation. But you don't have to. You can sell on the way up there and scale into a sell. And you can have sell stops trailing below here. You never have to trade that at the market or on a stop. You could trade buy stops out of this breakout. And then you put in sell stops, stop and reverse. Here you break even. See, the problem with stop entry, stop exit is that if you do trades like that where you say, I put a sell stop in here, then I moved to break even. Yeah, they took you out because it's right where it took turn around, right? I put a sell stop here. Market goes down. I keep trailing my stop. Now I'm at break even. That's almost the reason why for some of this it's reversing because people are like, holy shit. The late comer, I mean the people, that's why you don't want this buy stop to linger. Because those are going to trap you on that. If you're doing stop entry, you need to, it's a tactical thing. You've got to be running tight stops. And at that point, you're going to ask yourself, why don't I just get the fucking market? Yeah, if it's quietly drifting down, you're going to buy one at the market, maybe buy one at stop, buy one in limit. You're going to run everything tight. When the market starts to heat up and crush down, and you got to see this coming. You got to look left because the voids leave huge clues of what could potentially happen. If you zoom out to the max zoom out here, the same could be said on the north side of this thing. If we ever get above this, and we didn't, it's going to be crush fest. This thing's trapped in this sideways thing here. Not to mention this wonderful trend trade. Somebody probably like, oh yeah, this is great until we come up against resistance. It's almost like resistance does exist after all. Gee. And here's support. Right, for that next crash. But up to that point, the longer this looming vacuum forms, the more insane, because I'm sure that if you drill down to the small time frames as we step through this window here, you can only imagine what it looks like on this chart on the 4 hour. I had to turn off the scroll forward. I think it's kind of hard to hunt that down. I could try that exact window when the wheels come off here. If I could get to that window. Let me just highlight this. This is the threshold price here. At this about 30, about 140, $1.40 there. But seriously, if you're trading this thing, you should know how brutal this currency is, and you have to space your tickets appropriately. It's very, you're look. I can see many times on here. How about the depegging? That's pretty brutal. All that stuff. But yes, you could drill down to this next time frame here. We'll just go to the daily. Should be harsh enough. 2015. This will look like an hourly. This will look like a 4 hour chart. Yeah, the daily. So here's the thing, though. What if you bought? So on the daily, you can see that you did make money on your scalps. The weekly chart looks like they just sheared your balls off and left you holding them. But here, had you bought this double bottom here, so you open up, you got You bought that and made money here on this bounce. If you're buying this, yeah, when it comes down here, you actually did pretty good, I think, back into this. Buying this, yeah, that was a good trade. I mean, you're going to run about a 300 pip stop on that, aren't you? Surely you, I mean, it's going to occur that you're in that currency. That's insane, right? And that's about as far as I can. Let me turn off this. Is this a chart shift? There you go. Right, this here. I mean, look at this. Look at this rip. Wow, that's something else, isn't it? So here you would have made. Yeah, that's. You just got to be able to. You can see it coming, right? You can see the problem there. This huge vacuum here. I mean, forget that one. What about this one back here? You want to talk about a real disaster, but if you drill down, this is the weekly chart, but if you look at this, at some point when you dip into this window, which ends up going to hell, there are the counter trend scalps in there from that standpoint. And then when it's appropriate, when the market's going sideways, you have to build a hedge. If you are a person that wants to make money every month trading from different that's the holy grail. There's like three holy grails. There's market orders that fit the conditions. There's a stop entry that makes sense, and there's a limit order. There's three ways to trade it. The limit one is going to be more planned out. The stop one's planned out. The market one is a momentum based thing, because we don't really, if you have an order that lasts all week, I mean, certainly you'd love some momentum to get you filled quickly and cash you out. You're kind of hoping momentum's in your favor there, but if the market's not moving, there's a trade, and if the market's really moving, there's a trade. For me, if the market's really moving, I'm going to probably go opposite at the end of the session of 1 hour, 4 hours, depending where we're at. If I see that we're going into a hole, the abyss of all abysses, which is once we go below this thing on the weekly pound Swiss, a part of you has to say, well, when was the last time we were here? Well, apparently not for a while. Like 5-year lows? Holy shit. Yeah, if you keep buying into this thing, not being aware it's heating up, it just dropped more here in 1 year than it was able to rally in 5. Another example of 80% of the market's going like this, and 20%'s going like this. We go sideways, smash, sideways, smash. And then this is kind of a drip. But look at all this sideways action. I'm going to call this all sideways. I'll call this the big move. Show it to a kid. Ask a kid to show you what is the biggest, the tallest move on this chart. Here, Daddy. What's the rest of this? Just bullshit. This is bullshit sideways. This is like 80%. These two areas. Come on. That's the trade you would have wanted. And if your algo was properly constructed, it would have got in here and you cherry pick all these entries. But did you reverse here? Are you holding still? And every time it comes to here, you think, I should get out. And then go, oh, fuck, man. Goddamn. Remember was down there? Should have got. So I don't have the shouldas because I got like 180K floating on single tickets. There's no shoulda for me. I don't even feel it. I just don't even know. So the market's just treading water. It's just all the better for my tight orders, But yeah, I'd rather just trade them limits for me. But like, yeah, I'm not going to stand in front of this fucking vacuum. You have to be out of your mind. According to my data, going back to 1998 on this pair, once we fell through this floor, in fact, when we dipped below here, look how the buyers came in. rip it back to there. Monthly. It doesn't matter. Look at this one. If you started buying here, 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 yeah, at some point you got to put on that hedge. You either had a hedge going in here. This is your only chance to put on your hedge, because this is sheer down. But this is the monthly chart. Don't forget, on the inside of these monthlies, I bet we do come back to this before we crash down. So I'm putting a blend in. If I was going to trade this thing, I'd be like, yeah, I'm buying here, I'm buying here, I'm buying here. But inside here, I have to get out, get the fuck in on breakouts. Here's a breakout trade, pays the rent until they come down here and they trap everybody that thinks it's going to keep going down. Now they're ripping their face off, and then they're ripping their face off again into this vacuum. Now the volatility since 2010 is just bullshit. This is why no nonsense saying, oh, the market's just, they're just not really giving me any signals. Yeah, I bet he was in on some, I bet he took a piece out of this thing. How couldn't he? Somebody's algo, if they built one by 2008, somebody made a bunch of money on this because their moving average just happened to line up with this move. They're like, dude, we sold here. Oh my God. We were short for 2 years on that. We made 2,700 pips. We made 4,000 pips. 10,000 pips. Look at this currency pair. This is the British pound against the Swiss franc, for God's sake. The spread's appropriately sized for this drama, I must say. Go to present day. Look at this. Now here's my example of the buy limits entries that made money. Here is you're buying this crush here, and then the breakout traders are riding that one. Another nice breakout entry. Here's the floor. No sellers come in. You come up into this window. Now I'm buying here on this drop. So I'd be long right now on this currency pair. I'd be in something right now, today. Right? Because we just made a new low here, but I don't know if the spread's going to let me do that. I don't know if it got filled there. So the Asian session, we're going sideways here. If you want to trade on confirmation, some of your position, just don't go all in on any one idea. Buy stops there. I'd have buy limits here all the way down. Below here, I have more buy limits, and here I have really a lot, And maybe by Wednesday, we'll come down here, and then I can cash out to here. I'm not gonna babysit this thing. I really don't want to babysit anything. Somebody's talking about babysitting. I just don't want to stare at these charts. Here's the 5-minute yen. Okay. Could you have sold here? Could you have sold here after a big 5 screaming up 5? Yeah. Here's a prime example of markets up 5. On a 5-minute chart, it's up very big. Yeah, it looks like a nice sell to me. You're up like 15 pips here or something. Look at this. Here's the stop on the 5. Come down here. Plus these big hard pullbacks. I'm buying every big hard pullback. If I'm a bull, I got 1, 2, 3 I bought, and some on maybe a limit fill here. This never makes it back to this top. But what do you think's causing that? Let's see, go to the forward chart. I'm sure it'll tell the story. All right, so we're only looking at the 5-minute chart here. Well, look at that beautiful gap open. So my limits, had I left them over the weekend, if you set the expiration for a week and you drop those limits on Friday, when the market opens Sunday, they'll still be there. and you don't even have to be there for that trade. So you got a nice bounce here to here, and then people cashed out, and here comes the doji bots mechanically get on there. The sellers come in above this, and I would have been short right now above this on the 4 hour. Sell limit, sell limit, sell limit. A lot of buyers below here were able to push it all the way to here. They made their 50 pips. These are 25 pip grids, so they made, if they bought it to 25 and held that one, it made it back to the floor and then some. And right now you're short and up at least 10 pips on something that you put up in here. Now I would put buy limits here again and just rinse and repeat how many times you want to do it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going to sit here and break out a fib tool and look for optimal trade entry. There's no such thing for me. I just canvass the neighborhood, knock on every door, but I'm just not going to get out of my car anymore. I'm just going to hit a button here. I'm not going to. I barely go out driving, and I got people on me. So here's another failed limit fill up here though. Is you put sell limits up here and they never take it up there, and you never get filled. I wonder why they put drawing mode on here even. So you didn't get filled here on your sells. It never eclipsed that 25-yard line. So you had to settle for selling this area, and this is the steep zone. Plus, that really doesn't exist anymore after this happened. So you'd start selling above there in a 35 pip range. Sell, 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 scalp out on something to here. That is the 4 hour chart. As it crushes down, the buyers come in this little one. You get a nice kitten bounce. Then buyers come in again and scalp it another time. Then they come in again here. Here they fail. Right? But if you're going to put on a hedge here, you're long into limits. Now you're going to buy here. You're going to buy more here. And you're going to buy way more here. And you're going to buy just tons more based on these prices. Right? So there's this shelf. That's a 50 pip window. It's buyers galore down here. Not only could you have cashed out, you could rinse and repeat before the close, which I have the orders there. So see these arrows? That's the entry for that cash out. One last. It's a lot of work putting all these tickets in. Not if you're going to write a script that says, I'm going to buy from 10 to 60 pips deep with a 100 pip stop. Last for 8 hours. Click it, walk away. Every 4 hours it drops. I'm going to hit again. That way I have the same so-called array of buy limits here. So stacking up, buy, 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 buy. Then I hit the button, the market comes back, buy, 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 buy. Every 4 hours. That's 8 hours of exposure on pendings to get picked up. And then what if I put in the 12 hours, 12-hour tickets like this? Right? Maybe you only fill a couple, turn around, you'd be surprised. Without you being there, you're making money. It's just really stupid, I know. Yeah, I mean, all of these things, what do you do about that? And like I said, I'll paint a worse picture. What do you do if you've got 8 trades like that set up and they're all going off like dominoes, and you're like, holy shit, I can't withstand that amount of drawdown, even though at the end of the week I'm up and over on those trades? Well, that's the thing. If you have already determined the cost of that order bank being filled, then you've already taken the loss up front. It wouldn't bother you. If you're freaked out, like, why in the hell is this? Look at this beautiful, coming back to the breakout point here on the Euro Yen. Euro Yen's look at this wick here. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? Look at this fucking wick. So here is the daily entry. Now, this is not no nonsense. People aren't going to be able to do this trade, I'm sure, because it just entails you putting a buy limit here, one here, and a bigger one here because of this. And you could have put on a hedge here and been short into it. So my system says I have a trade for this small body. That's my hedge. And we could have cashed out of that into the limits and been long. Then here's another place to get in a hedge or get out. Well, it's a small bar. You could put a sell stop here, or you could put buy limits in here. If you do get in a stop, you got to know when the party's over because they're going to rip it back the other way. You got to know when the party's over. Small range on the daily. What could possibly go wrong? We're stalled out. Doji to doji. Double top. We could sell it. Or we could wait for a small bar, get in a hedge here. Or we're going to buy, and 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 we're going to buy. And then you make money, right? Because this wick came down here, and the price went up here eventually without taking out that. So you knew that was a winning trade for a swing trader. Buy, 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 buy. This one's not a winner. This one's a break even. This one's up. This one's up. So, you know, let Meatloaf say 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Here's another filling of a, but it's continuously going on. All these things, you know, each signal here is a small bar, doji. Put on your market orders. End of day, go long or short, low risk. Put your buy stops in, put your sell stops in. You're already long on limits, right? Because you could see this wick. So you should already be long on limits, making your 20 and your 50 pips. You're getting filled on limits. Maybe you like to buy oversold. This bar is obviously down. You buy. You can't be serious. Yeah, I'm serious. I can't think of another. I've tried everything. I've tried it all. Point and figure charts. Here, hit me. If you don't have a trade plan for it, then it's useless. If you don't have a trade plan for your indicator, what in the fuck is the point? And then people are, I'm risking 2% of my account in this trade. Okay. I mean, go for it. Look at this gap open here. Wow, that's pretty brutal, huh? Oh, these markets don't gap ass, no nonsense. Look at that thing. Oof. We're doing so well on Friday there, and all of a sudden, I don't know, Sunday opened up, got slippage, like, couldn't believe. Unless you shorted into the week, and then you wake up on Sunday, you're like, woohoo. But I bet people got the fuck out. Yeah, that's why it came up. People were like, holy shit. The trend traders were like, yeah, I was buying pullbacks. Look at that, gapped in my favor. Eager buyers. Just turn on a dime there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to sell. If I sell above this, which is where you're supposed to sell, I'm going to have a 25 pip winner in there. I'm going to have a 9 pip, a 12, a 16. If I buy below here, every 25 pips, I got to have some kind of like, you know, something. If I sold here at the end of the day, I got to take something off here. You think it's going to just go down because I sold it? It's so funny. Well, you don't understand my system. I back tested it. Every time I sell here and I just let my profits run. Yeah. How often? See, you can't let your profits run because 80% of the market's just chop. You could buy right. So you could pull the trigger. So the guys on the 5